What's going on, everybody? Tom here with Black Sheep Keto, and welcome to another recipe video just for you subscribers out there. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider doing so. Now today, guys, I'm releasing a recipe for my ketogenic take on a milk chocolate. I got a ton of requests for this in my DMs in the comment section of that white chocolate video, which I'll link up here. Anyways, you guys really wanted this, so I decided it was about time to make it. Now, as always, if you guys decide to make this or any of our recipes, go ahead and make sure you tag us on Instagram at blacksheepketo and use the hashtag blacksheepketo for a chance to be featured at the end of every single recipe video. But if that sounds good to you guys, hang on tight and let's get right into the recipe. Alright everybody, welcome to the recipe. Now you can see laid out in front of us right here all of the ingredients for our delicious milk chocolate. So let's go through and step through all of them. First of all, we have 10 ounces of cacao butter. I went ahead and broke it into some smaller chunks just to help it melt a little bit more evenly. Then we have 3.5 ounces of heavy whipping cream powder. Traditionally you would use a powdered milk, but that's pretty carby and heavy whipping cream powder can do the same job for less carbs. So why not do that? Then over here, we have 3 ounces of Lakantos powdered monk fruit sweetener. This stuff is 2 times sweeter than sugar and it works pretty well for chocolate. So make sure you are using the Lakanto 2 times the sweetness powdered monk fruit sweetener. And lastly, we have 2.25 ounces of cocoa powder. So that's 2¼ ounces of cocoa powder. It's roughly 3/4 of a cup. And with any of these ingredients, I will have a link to the recipe down in the description, and all of these ingredients will be linked to where you can purchase them in the recipe itself if you guys need to know where to purchase them from. So to start things off, we're going to go with our double boiler setup like we did in the white chocolate video. So I have a pot here on the heat with just a little bit of water to where it does not touch the bottom of this bowl. And we're going to take our cacao butter and pop it right on there and just kind of stir it until it starts to melt. Our objective here is to get it to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm going to go ahead and get my thermometer out now. Alright guys, here's my thermometer. It's just a cabled meat thermometer. You should probably be using a candy thermometer, but I broke mine a while back and I've been using this ever since, and it seems to work just as well. I haven't had a problem with it failing to temper or anything like that, so you probably should use a candy thermometer, but this is working just fine for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. Alright everybody, according to my thermometer here, I'm about 121 degrees, so it's about time to pull it off. Just to note when you're taking the temperature, make sure this is not resting on the glass bottom. You want it just kind of suspended in the liquid. But since we are right around 120 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and take this and move it to a pot holder. Depending on the type of bowl you're using, you may want to use a oven mitt for this, but this bowl is actually pretty good at not transferring heat. So now that we have this, we're going to go through and just add in our ingredients. So we've got our cocoa powder going in, our powdered monk fruit and erythritol blend, and of course, our powdered heavy whipping cream. And then we're just going to give this a nice mixing. And you're going to want to keep whisking this until you've beaten out all of the clumps. So as you can see, our clumps are beaten out. Now I'm going to put my thermometer back in there, and I'm going to keep stirring it kind of slowly until it reaches 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's do that. Now I'm not going to get into the whole process of tempering, but these temperatures are kind of important in order to make your chocolate kind of brittle and have that snap to it. Otherwise it won't harden properly. So make sure you're following these temperatures, and if you're interested in the process of tempering, you can always Google it. Alright everybody, my thermometer has just reached 85 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll probably notice at this point that it has taken quite a while, and it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to do so. So what I like to do is just stir it, walk away for about 5 minutes, check the temperature, stir it again. Once it gets close to 85, then just kind of keep a better eye on it. Now at this point, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of sunflower lecithin. Is this 100% required for the recipe? No, it works just fine without it, but depending on your humidity levels and various things like that, it can cause your chocolate to separate a little bit. So in terms of like having an emulsifier in there, this is basically what everybody uses. And it just adds a bit of stability to the chocolate. So we're going to go ahead and get that mixed in there and get our molds ready. Alright everybody, I went ahead and prepped my molds here and put the chocolate back on the double boiler at about a medium-high heat. We're going to want this to come up to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit before we pour it, so keep an eye on it because it can come up in temperature relatively quickly. While we're doing that, I want to go ahead and add some toppings to my mold. So you'll see I have some toasted almonds in here, some macadamia nuts, some more almonds. If you're into salted chocolates, this is some flaked sea salt. Maybe just go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of that in one of your molds. This is where cooking gets fun, guys. You can totally do whatever you want with it. In fact, let me show you something a little weird. When I was in the Dominican Republic, I had some chocolate that had red chilies in it. So I think I'm going to make a little bit just like that. So don't feel restricted to things you've tried before. You can put whatever you want in these chocolates. So I'll catch up with you guys as soon as this reaches 90 degrees Fahrenheit and we're ready to pour. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit that magical 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the bowl off our double boiler here and begin to pour it. Hopefully I don't make too big of a mess because I'm pouring without being able to see it, but really just get the chocolate in the molds as best as you can. Now, as you guys may have learned in the previous step, chocolate takes a little while to harden, or cool down in general. So you're gonna need to leave these on your counter for about 4 hours for them to be pretty much firm. Ideally, you leave them overnight for them to be that true kind of brittle, snappy chocolate consistency. So I will check back with you guys in about 4 hours, and maybe we'll taste them tomorrow when they've had a full time to cool overnight. But with that, why don't you guys check out the finished product right here, and we'll be back for the taste test. All right, everybody, now that you've seen the recipe, it is time for the taste test. So I do have a bar of chocolate right here. As you can see, mine looks absolutely gorgeous here. If yours had some little white spots on it, it can be two things. First of all, it can be some water specks on the mold from when you last cleaned them, or even maybe your tempering was slightly off. Don't worry, guys, it's totally fine to eat. It's not like moldy or anything like that. Totally normal if it's your first time doing this. Mine obviously doesn't have that because I've been practicing a little bit. Anyway, let's go ahead and taste this. So I'm gonna set the plate down here and probably just Augustus Gloop this whole thing. No, I'm kidding. You probably want to hear the snap. So listen to this chocolate, guys. The mic's right there if you were wondering. So as you can see, we got a nice clean break. It's not melting on my hands. This is a very shelf-stable chocolate. And now we're going to give it a taste. Now this was the salted chocolate bar that we made, so I'm going to describe it as such. Now when you first bite into it, it has a nice snap to it. Then the chocolate starts to melt and it's very kind of creamy on your tongue, very chocolatey, and then I get that salt on the finish. But remember, you can add whatever mixins you want to the chocolate. I made some with almonds, some macadamia nuts, some red pepper, some salt. So it was kind of a grab bag. I just decided on the salted chocolate because that's my absolute favorite. And if you guys noticed in that video, I may have over poured a few of the molds and there's some overage on there. What I do with that is I break it off, put it in a bag, and use it as chocolate toppings, chocolate sprinkles, whatever you guys want to use that for. So absolutely none of this is going to waste. And you know what? It's cheaper to make it yourself than to go buy it from the store, and you can control the ingredients. With that, guys, I'm going to go and close the video. If you like this video, leave it a like. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments section. And if you have not subscribed yet, do me a huge favor, guys. Hit that subscribe button, show some love, and I will see you in the next one.